Do you hear it? Do you? Do you hear it? The rain. Saturday, January 15th, 2022. 2023. It's not 2022. It's 2023. And it's raining. Oh my god, I did like nothing yesterday. Really, truly. It's not totally true. I did some laundry. Oh. Did you hear the rain? Just listening to it. Listening to the rain and Omar making coffee and listening to Hyphy. Yes, it's what he washes the dishes to in the morning. E40. You and Mac Dre wash the dishes with my husband. So, that was some game yesterday. The Warriors, huh? Good job, fellas. That was a good job. Good job. Playing that big old crazy place, huh? Was that fun? Wow. Lots of fun, huh? I don't know. I'm not interested in going to games anymore. Every time I go, we spend all the money on tickets and some screwy ass thing happens. One time, was it the first time we went down to Chase Center? Somebody stole the Virgin Mary card out of our car. Yeah. What else? Oh, some guy threatened to call security on me. One time, Omar got up to go to the bathroom. We sat down in the seats. Now, we don't have season seats, right? So, whatever. And he got up to go to the bathroom. And some guy and his kid come over like, these are our seats. We just happened to sit in the wrong place. And I was like, okay. I said, we'll move. I said, but I didn't have the tickets on me because Omar had gone to the bathroom. And this guy was like yelling at me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I said, this giant place. I said, I don't know where my husband is. I'm not going to leave here until he comes back. Right? Have some dude fucking accost me. No. Or the time I had to go to the bathroom and then they wouldn't let me come back to my seat and I couldn't pull up my ticket on my phone and they told me I didn't have a ticket and they were threatening me. Why would I want to come and spend all that money to be treated like that? So no, I don't want to go to the games because that's not fun to me. Oh. So as of a couple days ago, it was supposed to be drier today and tomorrow, but now it's supposed to rain all day. Today. Most of the day. It's supposed to be like a couple hour break. So getting the painting in is going to be challenging, but we're going to do it, damn it. Why? Because it needs to get done, right? I need to get the stuff over there so I can start working over there. And I only have limited time because I can't move all the stuff by myself. Omar has to help me, so it means it has to be done on the weekends. And no, I'm not hiring somebody to come in here and move stuff and steal from me, right? Because that's always what happens. Anytime I have hired somebody to move stuff, stuff gets stolen. That's why Omar and I don't go anywhere anymore, because anytime we leave, stuff gets stolen. People break into our house all the time. Stuff gets stolen all the time. Brody. Brody. Hey, Brody. Brody, are you a dog? Are you? Are you a dog? Are you a man? Brody, are you a man? Brody. Are you a dog man? Brody. Brody. Brody, are you a ghost? Brody's not a ghost. Brody's a dog man. Or a man dog. Brody, are you a man dog? Are you a man dog now? Are you a man dog? Did you turn 5? Are you a man dog? Oh my God. So there was this story of this kid that was washed away in the floodwaters. And that's terrible. I don't know if they found him or not. I don't know. Who knows where he is? Who knows? My question is, what was a 5-year-old kid doing outside in that rain? That's what my question is. How'd that happen? I don't know. I don't know. You know. Oh, and I used to teach pottery. I used to teach ceramics. I used to teach pottery for kids, little kids. Oh my God. Ugh, they used to pack so many kids in that class too. Like they were ages 5 through 8. Right? And then Susan Worley, she taught the next age level. They gave me, the ridiculous ones. And they'd pack like 28, 30 kids into that little room. When one had to go to the bathroom, we all had to go to the bathroom, right? That was the rule. Because I didn't have anybody in there with me. And even if there was a parent in there, I couldn't leave the kids with that parent. I wasn't allowed to. So that meant if one kid had to go to the bathroom, I had to explain this every day, every class. I'd have to remind them. Now remember, if you have to go to the bathroom, as soon as you have to go, let me know, because we all have to get ready to go. Because everybody has their hands inside all that wet clay, all that wet, wet, wet clay. Because when you have all those little kids and they're playing with clay, you know it's all wet. You know they're just pouring more and more water on it. So you got a big old mud puddle, right? 28 kids with muddy hands. Yeah, Larissa did that job. I have to take them all to the bathroom at the same time. So how'd that 5-year-old get out there in the floodwaters? How'd that happen? Questions I have. After having worked with many, many kids, Many, 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 many kids. That Ron Gordon, I look at him, and I'm like, did I ever have you in an art class? Because he's from San Jose, right? He's the right age. Kids that I used to teach in San Jose would be about that age now. Hey, Ron, did you ever have Miss Larissa? Did you? Did you have Miss Larissa in school? Did you? Did Miss Larissa come to your class with art in a cart from the museum? Did you have Miss Larissa? Did you make a name tag to put on your desk? Did Miss Larissa teach you how to use the scissors? Seriously, he's the right age. He's the right age. That's how those kids would be now, huh? That Miss Larissa taught in San Jose schools. It's crazy. It is. That's crazy. Crazy to think about. Hey, Ron Gordon, I could have had you in art class. Miss Larissa teaching you how to use scissors. And now you're playing the basketballs. That's funny, huh? All the kids, all those kids, all those kids. Oh my gosh. Most of them didn't speak English. I'd go into those classrooms. That's why I quit that job, because it was like, oh, that's not why. Like, that was challenging. The reason I quit was because of that, and because they kept towing my car. Anytime they towed my car. I had to pay to get my car twice from the museum. Right? I worked for the Museum of San Jose. Right? San Jose Museum of Art. I worked for them and taught both at the museum and in San Jose schools. Right? Because Ronald Reagan destroyed public school art programs when he was governor of the state. So school districts, they some of them in San Jose, they were contracted with the museum for like special enrichment, right? So I did that, and they also for some after school programs. Oh my God, I hated doing the after school programs. I hated doing the after school programs because wait for the parents to come pick them up. I had one kid puke all over the place. The one time it was awful, and it wasn't little kid puke. It was like fourth grader puke. That was awful, everywhere. So gross. And then his mother was late picking him up, and I was just like, get your pukey kid out of here. Oh my God. Oh my God. But yeah, museum. Val DeLange. Oh, what was that bitch's name? Carrie. Oh my God. Her dad built log cabins. She talked about it like all the time. My dad's a contractor. He builds log cabins. Oh, she was so obnoxious. She was so obnoxious. She yelled at me. That was it. That was it. That was when I actually quit. Was she yelled at me, and it wasn't for something good. Like, I can dish it and I can take it. I did not deserve this. When she yelled at me, I was just like, okay, check yourself, skinny blonde bitch, and get out of my face. What had happened? They had towed my car, and I had to pay. It was the second time they had towed my car, and I had to pay $50 to get the car. And I had my car parked in front of. There was one space that we were all supposed to share, and I had my car parked in there because I was in the supply room prepping my supplies, right, that I had to carry to every school. So I'd have like 2 to 3 schools a day, depending. 3 classes at each school, unless it was an after-school program. So if I had 3 schools a day, it was 2 schools for during the day classes and 1 school after school program, right? So that'd be 6 classes plus the after school, and that was like, it was only supposed to be 25 kids per class, but it was usually more like 28 to 32 kids per class. So you had, if I had, let's just say 30, because that's easier to round. So if I had 3 classes at each school, that's 90 kids. Supplies for 90 kids at each school, plus the after-school program, which would have been another 20 to 40 children in the after-school program. And I had to cart all of that in my car, and I had to prep all those materials. And I was not paid for prep time, right? I was not paid for prep time. And what I get, 30 cents, 30 cents a mile reimbursement for driving, right? So I got 28 cents. 28 cents a mile is what I got. And I was told to be grateful because standard was 22 cents or something like that per mile. Yeah. Anyway, get my assignment at the beginning of each session, right? And you know you're going to be going for so many sessions, and you turn in your lesson plans that you had to write, that were designed to go around what the museum exhibit was, because the whole program included the classes would eventually have a field trip to the museum, and they'd see the artwork, right? So they'd do all these projects, learn, right, and then they'd come and they'd see the exhibit. That was the program. So she gave me paperwork that had the wrong classroom numbers on it. And she yelled at me for not checking those classrooms. I was supposed to call ahead and make sure that all of the... I'm like, bitch, why don't you just do your job and put the right classroom numbers on the paperwork you give me? Because if I got to do your job too, if I got to check your work, why don't they just pay me to do your job? That's how I felt. And that's what I told her. She she was screaming at me because I went to a school, and the classroom that I went into turned out to be a special ed class. And it was like they were preschool, first, kindergarten, and first grade, right, in this classroom, and they were all special ed. And there were kids in there that were nonverbal. Well, it went really, really well. I had tons of fun. The kids had tons of fun. The teacher cried tears of joy because there were kids who were like nonverbal, who would sometimes bang their heads on the walls and things like that, who were drawing and making art and were engaged and were laughing and interacting with the other students. Like it was like a miracle. Like I walked into this classroom and worked a miracle. Well, then I wasn't allowed to come back because it wasn't the right classroom number. And she yelled at me. She was screaming at me on the phone. And I said to her, so you put the wrong classroom number on the paperwork. She's, well, you're supposed to call. And she's like, you didn't do your job. I said, you didn't do your job, and you're yelling at me. I said, oh, okay. And I went home that night. I slept on it, and I went in the next day, and I talked to Val DeLange. She was from Brazil. Brazilian woman. I told her, I said, when I started this job, you told me I did not need to be bilingual. I said, that was a lie. I said, I have fourth graders who have to translate my lessons for me. I said, when I took this job, you told me I would only have 25 children in a classroom. I said, that was a lie. When I took this job, you told me I'd only work one Saturday a month, and I was working 3. I said, that was a lie. I said, you've towed my car twice. I said, and now this bitch is yelling at me. I said, I quit. Other guy that I worked with, Jeff. He was a panty waste. He totally was. He was. Carrie was a mean, mean bully, and she was shitty at her job, and she was snobby. So I quit. And then I went back to teaching at the city of Sunnyvale. I was still teaching at the city of Sunnyvale, but I went from teaching just the pottery classes to like teaching everything. There for a while at the city of Sunnyvale. If you were a kid at the city of Sunnyvale, if you were in elementary school, middle school, or high school, right, from 2002 to 2004, 2000, yeah, 2002, that's when I started teaching there. 2002, 2000 to 2005. If you were a kid and you took classes, art classes with the city of Sunnyvale, you had me as a teacher because I taught all of them. The only thing I didn't teach was the teenage and the middle school pottery class because Susan Worley taught that. But I taught the preschool performing arts classes. I taught the drawing and painting. I taught pottery. Oh my God, I taught 5 days a week. I did. Oh my God. Yeah. So, I've taught a lot of kids. Taught a lot of kids. A lot of stuff. Oh. And no, I'm not interested in teaching anymore. Or ever again. It's an awful job. It's an awful, awful job. I got paid shit to do it. What'd I get? I got 17 and a quarter an hour. Not even 15 and a quarter. Got 15 and a quarter an hour to teach those classes. 15 and a quarter. And when I was working for the museum and teaching in San Jose schools, I worked it out. That was a salaried job. I worked it out, and I was making like $2.75 an hour. $2.75. That's what that worked out to. Like when I worked for CYO camp that summer, worked that out. I was making, because you were constantly working. Like even if you were technically had the afternoon off or whatever, you were still working. Like you were still responsible because you were living there with those kids. I was making like 22 cents an hour is what that job came out to. Like 22 cents an hour. Yeah. I've had the worst jobs. I have. I have. I've had the worst jobs. The rain. Drip, 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 drip. Raindrops keep falling on my head, just like the man whose feet were too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. My feet aren't too big for my bed. I got tiny little feet. My little feet's hurt. They do. Oh, big fat girl, right? Big fat girl on her tiny little feet. Of course, the little feet are going to hurt. Weight distribution, right? So, anyway. Got to figure out how to get this painting out of this house without it getting all wet. Get it hung. Hope we can get down 17. I wonder if 17's a mess. I'll have to check it out. Maybe we'll be stuck in the house all weekend again. Oh my God, please no. Anyway.